everyone. My name is Nishat Fatima. I'm the experience management expert and community lead. And today in our video series, we have Jan Musil with us today. He's the chief product owner of SAP Activate, who has over 25 years of experience working at SAP. He's going to talk to us today about SAP Activate and how experience management fits into the methodology. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Thank you, Jan, for joining us today. I'm super excited to host this video series with you.
That's awesome, Nishat. I'm glad to be here. So let's get into it.
Let's jump right in. So I usually like to start with a personal question, right? So can you tell me a little bit about your journey at SAP?
It's been a great one. I've been with SAP since '95. Started with a small unit of SAP in Czech Republic, and when you're working in a small unit, you get to experience pretty much everything. I was a technology consultant, as we call them today. Back then, we were referred to as basis consultants. Basically, someone that helps customers install, set up their systems and get it ready for the project team to jump in and implement. That was awesome. That was great work. And of course, technology, software, everything evolved since then. So I've during my journey with SAP, I usually talk about it as I've done everything except HR, legal, and all the other stuff that I'm not qualified to do. But I've been in pre-sales roles, consulting roles. I've done quality management in development. I was development manager for a few years, and now I'm running a team that's developing SAP Activate, which is the methodology that's guiding implementation of SAP software, and it's designed for our customers to get a guidance on their journey to SAP, whether they're implementing S4 or any other product from SAP or combination of these products. So recently, before becoming chief product owner for SAP Activate, I led the global project management practice in SAP services. And as part of that role, I helped maintain and support and design the methodologies and practices for delivering successful projects, and looked after the project management, development path, training, and all these aspects that you need in a PMO. So it's been a great journey. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and I can't wait to see what's next, because we're not quite done. I think we've shown with Activate that we're not quite done, and we'll get more improvements into how we deliver projects.
We're excited to have you here, and we're glad that we have the 25 years of experience with us. So as we're kind of talking about this experience, right, like SAP started with on-prem, and then we're kind of evolving into cloud. So what is the importance of this cloud strategy, and where does Activate fit into it?
This is really interesting. As we went through the past two and a half years of really shifting a lot of things that we do personally, that businesses do, we have seen a significant acceleration in the shift to public cloud and cloud implementations in the space of SAP software. Cloud was really very small part of conversation initially. And we have seen tremendous transition into a lot more customers, partners, starting to think in terms of how do we adopt a standard solution that's cloud-based, that's consumed as a service, rather than maintaining all the infrastructure, software, and taking that workload and moving it to cloud and consuming it as a service. So that's been the past history. Now, when you look at how Activate, or what role Activate plays in this whole space, It is tremendous what we have introduced with Activate. Because if you look in the past, we had methodologies for implementation like ASAP that was used primarily for on-premise implementations. And really what we have done in 2014, before we introduced Activate to the market in 2015, we rethought and redesigned how implementations are done. We looked at, what are the assets? What are the ready-to-run business processes that we can take and help customers imagine how that solution will look like through actually seeing running business processes as they are going through fit to standard workshops and assess the needs for, delta requirements, additional integrations, all those things that always happen in those projects. But having the mindset of standard first, right? So that's really kind of the major transformation that we have made in implementations, is to think about how you leverage the standard and how you focus on your differentiating processes, differentiating practices, and then preserve those, because they are very important for the business to preserve the value. So Activate is designed along that mindset. So, rethinking how the company runs. And then once you figure out what's your set of requirements that need to be implemented, using agile techniques to implement them in cycles, in sprints, and get the solution deployed to the business as quickly as possible. So that's kind of, where you land when you look at Activate and how it supports cloud. Something that I would like to mention is that, when you move from being in on-premise environment and you start operating in cloud, in public cloud, things speed up. I feel like in cloud, it is like, SAP back in when I joined. There was a lot of learnings that we had to do at that time, because the technology at the time when I joined SAP made a leap. We are making another leap now with public cloud, where you have faster cycle of innovation. You need to think about how that impacts your project timelines, the dependencies on when things are happening in that project. So there's a lot of learnings. And I suggest everybody to try to stay up to date with Activate, because it keeps evolving.
That's awesome. And with the learnings and with these new strategies, it's kind of like experiences, right? Like, we keep in mind our customers' experiences. And selfishly, I do want to talk about experience management a little bit. What is your take on experience management?
So in general, when it comes to experience, I think I have a pretty clear idea what experience management means for me as a customer, as a consumer. Having a great experience when I'm receiving a service in my home, or when I'm shopping online or in store. When there's a great experience, when you leave that store with like excitement, it was great. I was really top of mind for that salesperson, or I had really great experience in shopping. I found what I needed, and I am getting it quickly. That really is, to me, great experience and experience management. So that's really how I look at experience. And we want the same type of experience, offer this type of experience to our users of SAP Activate. So, in the past, the methodologies were kind of buried in tools from SAP. So when you look at, Solution Manager, you can access SAP methodology in Solution Manager, but it's kind of, you needed to go through a couple of steps. With Activate, we have opened up the methodology to everybody, and everybody can access it in easy to consume way on Roadmap Viewer. Part of the experience in my mind is to have a rich and thriving community. And that's, again, something that we have done where we are able to engage directly with our end users and give them the straight answers. So we don't need to go through like buffers or additional layers of people that will filter the message. We have really direct to end user contact. So kind of taking that experience that I'm thinking about when I shop or when I have a let's keep it at shopping, and trying to rethink how we bring the content of SAP Activate to our users. So we are trying to improve that experience as we go, and we are learning. So we are listening to our users and improving the functionality. So if you started using the Roadmap Viewer when we introduced it first, and we would kind of put you away and then bring you back now, you would not recognize it because there's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, and that's the key point of XM, is it's like figuring out what the touch points are and kind of learning about it and growing with it, right? So what are the benefits of then embedding XM into that Activate methodology?
I think it's it's multiple. I look at it as a significant improvement, because when you think about what we are doing with these projects, we is really SAP, our customers, our partners that are engaged in those projects. We are introducing a significant change to the business users, and we're introducing it at a fast pace. So the business users that used to have months to transition from their existing processes, existing practices, to new processes, new practices, need to accelerate that change. And having a pulse of how that goes through the experience management that we build into Activate is really improving the chances of that change being managed well. Because you can monitor the sentiment of the end users, the sentiment of the project team, and add it to those traditional metrics that we have in projects, right? Not everything can be managed through scope, time, all those hard metrics, right? They are still important. I'm not saying they're not important, but this is additional dimension that can help improve the chances of success. And that's how I look at XM or the XM content that we have added into Activate.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like that XM layer adds that people component to it, right? Like, we're really good at technology, we're really good at kind of estimating and scoping, but that people component is what XM brings into the roadmaps. So what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry for jumping in.
No, that's okay. What roadmaps is it currently available in, if I'm like looking for it?
So when you look for it, best is to use the search functionality in the Roadmap Viewer. You will find it, so you don't need to dig through the different roadmaps. But we have inserted it initially into the SAP Activate for S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition. And we have done that mainly because these projects are going through a significant transformation. We see a lot of customers that would have focused on on-premise to really shift into cloud and start with private cloud. But we are not stopping there. It's really with Activate, we innovate in a specific roadmap where we pick that the impact will be the highest initially, and then we roll out all this improvement into all the other roadmaps. So you can expect that you will see this content in other roadmaps over the next months, because this content is then easy to transform and use in in public cloud. You will see it in other cloud solutions, I'm sure.
That's awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing this content more available to all of our audience here. But thank you so much for taking the time today. Lastly, I kind of wanted to end the session here with any advice you have for our audience.
I have many advices, but let me let me focus on something that I have very good experience with. So we have a motto of small improvements every day, and that really is embedded in how we work in the Activate team and in our engineering overall. It really makes a huge difference. If you make those small improvements every day, they add up over time. So what I am a big proponent of agile thinking and agile mindset. And as an example, why I think this is important, we used to update content, even Activate. When we started, we used to update Activate every 6 months. Before Activate, we were updating content every 12 to 18 months. And the amount of change that we introduced every time we updated is so disruptive and requires a lot of learning. Whereas when we go through this continuous updating every 2 weeks, there are minor changes every 2 weeks, but they add up to a significant improvement. So that's one. The second benefit of this approach is that you can respond very quickly to changing situation. And we all had to respond very quickly a few years ago when the situation changed significantly. And in order to preserve all our customers' projects and sustain those go lives that were planned right as the countries were locking down, we were staying at home. We changed the delivery practices in Activate, and within 2 months, we had completely redesigned Activate for fit to standard, for cutover, to be able to do those things remotely. And that was tremendous improvement for our customers. Again, coming back to customer experience, we had the mindset of how do we help our customers continue what they were aiming to accomplish by doing those improvements. And we continue to do them every 2 weeks. So that's why I consider Agile a really groundbreaking mindset change that people should consider going with, because it generates a lot of benefits.
Awesome, thank you. And then if I wanted to engage with the Activate content or have questions around it, is there a place that SAP offers?
Absolutely. It is on sap.com. So on sap.com, go to communities, search for SAP Activate, and follow the community. You will find me, you will find the Activate team very engaging in there, and you'll find a lot of experts, not only from Activate, but also from outside. It's a thriving community. So, come join us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jan, and thank you for taking the time today to talk to me.
Thank you very much, Nishat, and have a great day.
Thanks.